Is Albon finishing top 10 in the points a dream, or could this become a reality? Starting with you, Joe.
I say it's going to be reality because here's the big thing. As you mentioned, Japan, Koto, Mexico, Brazil, those long straightaways, that's going to help him, just like it did at Monza. Mexico, the high elevation, thinner air, I think they're going to easily have one of their best races as long as something doesn't go wrong mechanically or that first corner because that is such a long straightaway in Mexico City. This team with Alex Albon has really been a great surprise. For Alex Albon to get to 10th place, he's going to have some hard competition, but those tracks look very favorable. Singapore, you don't have the long straightaways. Weather could be an issue. I think if they could just secure a point finish, 10th, ninth, that's a good day for the team. Abu Dhabi, you got a couple long straightaways, but it's not exactly long enough. There's still a lot of tight corners, short straightaways. I think that's going to be a hard track for them, but that's thankfully the last one for them. Try to capitalize on those other tracks where you know you got a big advantage. I think he gets done.
Joe, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree. I'm actually gonna say that Alex Albon in that Williams finish in the top 10 is only gonna be a dream for him. I know Alpine didn't really have the Italian Grand Prix that they wanted this past weekend, especially with the strong race we saw from them at the Dutch Grand Prix as Zandvoort. It really seems like once Alpine has restructured their executives, sacking several people and promoting others in the interim roles, it really seems like there's still potential for Alpine to really get some good points to close out the 2023 season. And if the changes are any indication of what could come, I really think Gasly and Ocon are going to have several more good results. And Oscar Piastri, I know he didn't get the finish he wanted as well at the Italian Grand Prix. I still see him in the McLaren group continuing to figure things out, collect more points. So I think when you look at Alpine and McLaren, and I really think that they're just going to end up piling it on, and it's going to be really tough for Alex Albon to keep up with them. But I still think he's going to have several great runs throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, I've got to side with Kobe on this one. I just think that when you look at who Albon has to go up against to try to break into the top 10, you've got Oscar Piastri, who is with a McLaren team and I think is on the up. They're much stronger than they were at the start of the year. I think Piastri is going to have a great opportunity to pick up plenty more points, maybe even a podium here and there. And you want to talk about podiums, both Alpines have one podium this year. So as much as I think there's some inter-team conflicts right now and not everything is all sunshine and roses over at Alpine, on their best day, they have a very strong car and they have some very strong drivers, both Formula One race winners in cars that were not top equipment, but they worked their cars right and found a way to the top step of the podium at one point in their careers, and Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. So I just think when you look at the competition, I would be shocked if Alex Albon can break into the top 10. If he does, though, and unfortunately, if Logan Sargent is still on 0 points, I think that's honestly not going to be a very good look for him. I know Sargent was kicking himself after Q2 on Saturday, and I think that was ultimately when the points were lost for him. I know he put out a statement on social media saying he tried his hardest to hang on to P10 there at the end, and then I think got a 5-second penalty due to a contact with Bottas there at the end. So unfortunate for him. I think this was probably his best chance. But Joe, as you mentioned, there are several tracks coming up that do have some long straights. That's always been one of Williams' strengths is the top line speed. I think they can credit the Mercedes power unit for that, particularly at the start of this turbo hybrid era. So not all hope may be lost for Logan Sargent at this point in terms of picking up some points at this point in the season. But you want to talk about where Williams is in the constructors right now, 7th place, and that all being what Alex Albon has done. Take nothing away from him. Top 10 might be a bit of a stretch in terms of where he's going to end up on the driver's side of things, but he is single-handedly boosting Williams on the constructor side of things, and that's great for a team that has desperately needed that over the last several years.